In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
Welcome to Rap in Order, the interrogation of a hip-hop album, where we take some of the culture's most beloved hip-hop albums, put them on the stand, see if they stood the test of time. Now let's see who we got on the stand today. Welcome to another episode of Rap in Order. I'm First Class Regg.
I'm Taurian B.
How we feeling today? What we got today?
Good. We got the Biggie Jordan Supreme collab.
Very fire.
Yeah, man.
Very fire. Good quality too.
Yeah, man. Nah, this one actually feels different than my other Supreme t-shirts. I don't know if they outsourced
like lighter.
It Supreme t-shirts kind of like they're like a lot heavier. This one got like a little polyester mixed in it. It's not 100% cotton. Oh, it's a Jordan brand tee. Okay, that's why.
That's what it is.
Okay, I like it though. I like 100% cotton sometimes. You know, yeah. It does something like that. But let's see. How you feeling about Penguin so far, Reg?
Man, good shit. First 4 episodes, I mean, the 5th episode is good too. But I knew that they would have like a slight dip in the 5th episode because the 4th is like such a pillar. It like gave you the full on reason of why Sophia is the way that she is.
So fine.
She's fire. And she's been fine for so long.
Yeah.
I feel like the internet is just realizing that.
That's
the wife. That is the wife from, but
I never paid attention.
Wall Street.
Yeah, I never paid.
But in that
and they
defense,
downplay her. Fucking Margot Robbie stole the show.
Yeah.
And she was annoying. Like she was, and she was. They were like, "Oh yeah, that's his cousin."
Nobody was looking past Margot Robbie and looking at her. So
at all.
You know, it is what it is. But now she's getting her full shine and she can act her ass off.
Absolutely, and she's a huge comic book fan.
Yeah,
which is sexy.
She is, and she's been saying like, "Yo, I've been wanting to play a Batman villain for so long."
Yeah.
Like, so that's been cool to see.
Yeah, man. I know Jada Pinkett's pissed.
Why? Oh, because she was in the Gotham show.
Yeah, she was in the Gotham show. I forgot the character's name that she played. But yeah, she played a character.
Yeah. The days of people lusting after Jada Pinkett are over. That was like just the 90s.
Yeah, man, that sucks. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. Kendrick and Tyler, we already know, we announced in the last episode that Tyler has a new album coming out. But what they're setting up for 2025, it seems like they are going to be the big names in 2025 musically.
Yo, the takeover of Los Angeles right now is insane. Yeah. Insane.
I definitely think we're going to hit the glass break and Drake's going to come out with something that's going to shake things.
Well, he does have this, he has his album with Party coming out, I think before the year ends.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, did you see that 50 Cent told Drake you didn't lose? What did you lose?
Bro, the way people, that's some bitch shit. That's some bitch shit.
I'm very curious of I'm very curious to know what is 50 Cent's motive behind that. Because I have noticed that whenever 50 Cent sees himself in somebody or identifies with somebody, he tends to...
He sticks with them through and through.
Right. So like you got to think Soulja Boy, the Baby, Drake. Like it seems like whenever somebody is like heavily disliked, he actually like puts his arm around them and like gives them mentorship, right?
Yeah.
Like he tried to do that with Chief Keef, but Chief Keef just was like, "Listen, man, like I'm good.
Yeah.
Like you don't gotta big bro me.
I'm moving to LA. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I'm moving to LA. I ain't staying in Chicago. You don't gotta big bro me." But and I think like he was trying to do that with Pop Smoke, but like you could like and it's not a bad thing. I mean, well, with Drake, because Drake don't need guidance from him. Drake's father's around. But
yeah, and I'll just clarify why I said that's bitch shit. It's because it just further tells you that Drake lost the battle. You know, like it's not. And I think I saw like an example, and I can't think of what the example was specifically, but it just aligned with this. I think he didn't have to say anything. The more people keep talking about this, the more Drake keeps talking to academics and all these internet people, just makes him look weaker.
Yeah, because also in the article, I saw that like 50 Cent was talking about like Kendrick, and he was like how like basically he said that like Kendrick is like performative and like he like all of this stuff is like kind of like he basically said he's phony, but like in a very like nice way. Like he was he was saying like, I know Kendrick, because he said that Kendrick's always like, wow, like always like surprised and like, you know, taken aback. But he was like, no, like this motherfucker is trained. Like this motherfucker has been preparing for this. Like And I get what he like, you know, I got it, but it's just like, yo, what you on right now, bro?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
like it just don't make sense to me. Like,
I think people like Kendrick probably trigger 50, like, because 50, he won the battles with theatrics. It wasn't necessarily about like
yeah,
the raps.
he did,
Yeah,
none of his
it
battles
wasn't
he
about the
won.
raps.
Yeah,
Piggy Bank wasn't the most lyrical shit.
No.
It was all the theatrics around it and the shock value of coming at all these people on record.
True.
It was never just a skill. And I think a lot of people are saying that about this Drake push, but Drake was actually rapping. Like when you listen to Family Matters, Bias Aside, he's really rapping. And I think that's one thing that I'll give Drake is that like whoever is going against him, he raps. Like he steps up to the plate.
He does.
You know, regardless if he wins or loses.
Yeah. I just think it's funny because it's like Drake is pretty much like the 2.0 of Ja Rule, right? Essentially. And 50, I guess, you know, just 50 just hated him. I don't think 50 hated Ja Rule's music like he says. He just hated Ja Rule.
Yeah, he didn't like Ja Rule, so he just found that angle.
Yeah, he just found the angle. Because I'm just like, the same thing could have been said to Ja Rule. Like, because basically he said to Drake, you still rich, right? Like, people just get tired of your music after a while. That's literally what happened to Ja Rule. We just got tired of him saying we wanted to change.
Somebody was like, that's probably the conversation that Irv had with Ja.
I'm like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, he said, what? Like, I couldn't believe that shit. Like, you know, but all in all, you know, that was pretty cool. Speaking of, you know, news outlets like SZA interviewed Kendrick and the hip hop journalists are mad. Are you mad?
I'm not upset. I think it's cool. I think hip hop media kind of just reaches some. It's not that it plateaus, but it reaches a certain level where it's like, all right, let's talk to other people. Let's broaden this conversation. Let's heighten this. But also, I think it's unfortunate in that same breath because I think he very much could find somebody to talk to. And Kendrick is such a big name. It doesn't matter who he speaks to. Because a lot of people were saying, oh, it probably wouldn't reach that many people. And it's like, well, no. Nobody knew who Bobby, whatever her name is, Althoff was before Drake spoke to her. And she blew up off of that. It doesn't matter the level of the talent. It just matters the talent that's speaking to them. And people are going to listen. I think a lot of these talented people within the hip hop community, they're not doing their research properly. And some of them are slighted in these conversations that the media landscape is having about them. So they're like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm never talking to you. Y'all just bitch yourself in the foot and I'm not gonna fuck with you. I'm gonna go find anyone else, you know? So like in a certain aspect in this space, we've been damaging to the connects as well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna piggyback off of you. So I might repeat a little bit what Regg said. Somebody told me that we were repeating each other. But I think that on both sides, they both did things that kind of like messed it up for the future. I think that a lot of journalists that artists would trust and say anything around, like when Drake made that comment about Jay-Z loving art and a journalist released it. I think that's an example of, yo, come on, man, what you doing? Like, I'll never, you know, now I'll never trust a journalist again.
Yeah,
right?
And Drake said that he made those comments off the record.
Right, and he made those comments off the record, or vice versa, where like, you know, somebody like Puff threatened Elliot Wilson's wife when they had an article in Vibe because she released certain things, and like he like threatened her and was like, I want to see it, I want to see the cover or whatever like that. So I think it's like on both sides there were like kind of like offenses made where it's like the trust was like gone. And like I always think about the movie Almost Famous. Almost Famous is one of my favorite movies like ever, right? Where like they were saying, don't trust the journalist. The journalist is not your friend. Like that's a thing for celebrities, athletes, artists. You just like it's never like it's never a fair meeting between people. And I think that's why somebody like Angie Martinez was so beloved, because she had so much integrity and like wasn't about the sensationalism. She was just about,
we still ain't got that Pac interview.
Yeah, right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she cut out certain parts of that interview because she saw where it could go. Wendy Williams would have had that interview, that entire interview would have been up, and Tupac probably said all kinds of crazy shit. He probably said things about Jews, all of that stuff. Like so I just think that in and media, there are things that are said on both ends, and it just never works out properly. Shit, we having the same situation right now with Stephen A. Smith and Jaylen Brown. State your sources. And the basketball players feel like, yo, nothing's never off the record. And Stephen A. Smith feels like, well, no, we built a relationship. Me and Allen Iverson was really cool. Me and Shaq was really cool. Me and Kobe was really cool. But he always fails to admit that, like, he fell out with all three of them at one point.
Yeah.
They came back together and, like, they made up. But, like, he had beef with them at one point.
And that's
a reason.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you it's about a trust thing. And I think that's what happened. So Kendrick trusts SZA. You let it interview.
And they prefaced that interview with that, where it's like, yo, we usually don't even do it this way, but like Kendrick, in a sense, wouldn't necessarily speak to someone that he didn't already had that rapport with,
right?
And so that's why it kind of worked with SZA, and I think these artists are pulling back, and mystique is really a big thing within the community.
It's lost.
Yeah, and I think it goes back, and I think we spoke something about this before, where I was like, yo, it's kind of, I was being crass, but I was like, it's kind of Beyonce's fault in a way, where she pulled back from media, right?
Did you see her GQ interview?
Yeah, it was through email. Like, bro, you emailed, and then you got your whatever. But like, Beyonce pulled back a lot, and I think she kind of rewrote how people think about reaching out with reacting and being in contact with the media space in general.
Right.
Because they kind of, I guess, the more mystique, the more people are interested.
Right. But I think, well, Beyonce took more of an approach that like Hollywood actors take, which the way she did her interviews. But Rob, you had something that you wanted to add?
What about Rob Markman, Jinx? Has the level of journalism changed and respected because knowledge and authenticity is not pop? So because of that, it's nosedive on people that you actually.
I'll actually tell you why. I think Rob Markman and Jinx, right? They haven't. I think that the level of artists that they have those relationships with aren't the level of artists that we're talking about. And I'm not saying that they can't. I'm just saying that like Kendrick's not going to say, let me talk to Jinx, let me talk to a Rob Markman, right? Because other journalists before them already ruined it before that relationship could be built. Elliott Wilson, when TDE first came, I'll tell you a quick story. And I know this firsthand. When TDE first came to New York, they were all downstairs trying to meet Elliott Wilson, trying to introduce him.
I remember that.
The only person he cared about was Kendrick, and Kendrick wasn't with them. He made them wait downstairs, and B-Dot's like, yo, I think you should talk to these niggas. Like, these niggas about to blow. Elliott said, I don't give a fuck about them. Who are they? Like, they're not Jay-Z. So I think, I'm not saying that like the names that you just named aren't good journalists. It's just that the journalists before them have left a bad taste in artists' mouths, pause, and now they don't give a fuck. I think Jinx has the most integrity. I don't know this man personally. Me and Jinx have mutual friends, but I will say that Jinx is probably one of the most stand-up people in journalism, right? But it's just that a lot of opportunities aren't given to him because of the people that came before him. So it's like he's wearing the sins of his forefathers. And that's why him and Rob Markman don't get hit up. Rob Markman absolutely should have gotten the fucking.
Rob Markman's great.
He should have been the person. All that shit that academics was getting, it should have been Rob Markman reporting it, getting the play-by-play from one of the sides or whatever like that. But no, we got in no disrespect, I like DJ Head, but we have DJ Head being the mouthpiece for Kendrick's camp, and then we have fucking academics being the mouthpiece for Drake's camp.
Yeah. And a lot of these relationships are tied.
And Big fucking Whack just apparently has his ear to the streets. He knows everything.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
And a lot of these relationships, they're specific tie-ins. So like they're the mouthpiece for these camps. And because of that, their opinion and the way that they look at shit is compromised.
And more.
Compromise.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you know, it's just one of those things. Like, I would love to see Jinx and Rob Markman be in that position. Also Speedy.
Oh, Speedy's great.
Yeah, he's great. He's awesome.
Speedy's great.
Yeah, he had a great interview with Glorilla.
All his interviews are solid.
It's fucking dope.
He does really great interviews.
Yeah, he
That's
does.
because a lot of these people come off as more content creators as opposed. Do you think it's because these people come off as more content creators as opposed to classically trained journalists or people who might have gone to school for this?
Wait, the people that get to talk to them?
Well, no, like for example, people you're mentioning
that don't get the
that
look.
I'm saying that don't get the look or that get the look.
Don't get the look.
The people that don't get the look are the classically trained people.
Yeah, like you could say that about Jinx.
Jinx went to college. He went to school.
Interviewed Kobe and he interviewed Kendrick at the same time, and it was one of the biggest interviews he's had.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a transition.
No, but I'm saying is how it's presented. For example, the average person who has the average person who isn't tapped into these people the way we are. Do you think the average listener who doesn't deep dive, who doesn't do podcasts, who doesn't read up on it, sees these people as that? And maybe that's why the artists don't necessarily go right away to them because they feel like they can get that look.
It's vice versa.
I don't think so.
Today don't want to go to those people because they're challenged.
Yeah,
and then they
I agree.
Answer questions and it's articulated a certain way that they can't respond to. One of the great interview that we mentioned is Two Walks of Life is like Gerard Carmichael and Tyler. That interview was incredible.
Yeah.
But it's two intellectuals having a conversation.
Yeah.
Where we're right now, smart isn't popular. So because smart is not popular, the smart people don't get the interviews.
Yeah.
It's the people who are more popular and more polarizing that are not accountable for what they say. So they can go and do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have academics that have a big media year.
Like the cut.
So you got Rob Marketing talking about fucking comic books.
I mean, that's pretty dope that he's talking about comic books.
But
he loves comic books.
You're like a face of genius.
Yeah, he is. No, you're right. Okay. All right. So with that being said, sorry that we veered off, listeners. We, Rob and Danny are here. They're passionate as well. Let's get into this album.
Yeah, man. So album that we're doing today is from a very notable group from the early 90s, and they just got inducted
into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And which is, I never really know how those things are picked and who's on the sidelines, who makes these calls or whatever.
Genre.
Right? Okay.
So that, like, cause somebody asked, like, how does Jay-Z get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before Cher? Well, what people don't know is that Cher didn't fuck with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for years. Like, they've been trying to induct her, and I forgot there was some big dispute. But if you think about it, like, hip hop just started being acknowledged into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So they're trying to like, so every time they put somebody in, they try to make sure it's a notable act and like a person like who has like a group or an act that has like reached like multiple like milestones and stuff like that. So with hip hop, they have to like make like a big splash. And then with other rock groups, it's like a nomination thing where like it has to be like a certain amount of votes. So that means like every year, like, 1 year, like that person might be somebody who just like misses it. And then the next year, the person who's eligible, that like, let's say, Crosby, Stills, and Nash are supposed to get in, right? And then but the group that's like before them is like friggin', I don't know, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like another like folk band. There's like another folk band or whatever like that. But they don't get in before, like they like, what the fuck is his name? Damn, Willie Nelson. Like, and then they're like, oh man, we got to put Willie in there.
Right.
it becomes like a thing. But hip hop is fairly young. The hip hop is only 50 years old, where like these other genres of music are like over 100 years old. So there's more acts than hip hop. So in hip hop, we're going to see a lot more people get put in like fast paced. Like about like I'm pretty sure Nas has to be a shoo-in for next year. So I just think that like it's a thing where like they're just playing catch up with hip hop because they had to reach back. And like, so there's a bunch of people that like need to get inducted that like were like pioneers in hip hop, and then like they'll start catching up with certain people. They got to make a splash with the name, so that's why they're like, all right, we gotta get Jay-Z and LL Cool J and shit like that. I know Run DMC is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So they they got to do things that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So like this group in particular, talking about the Tribe Called Quest, and the album that we're getting into today is Midnight Marauders, which was released November 9th, 1993. Midnight Marauders is the third album from Tribe Called Quest, with production mainly handled by Q-Tip, of course, and contribution from Large Professor, Ali Shaheed Muhammad. Album features an eclectic, gritty sound based on jazz, funk, soul, and R&B samples, in addition to socially conscious lyrics. Album debuted at number 8 on Billboard's charts, led by Electric Relaxation and Award Tour. When was your first time listening to this album? Do you recall?
Yeah, my mom had it. This was just an album that like it just got played. It felt like the soundtrack. So, like at one point in my life, like I felt like I heard this song every day. Like, and then the beginning of Electric Relaxation, doom, doom, doom. Like I felt like everywhere I went, like I heard that bass drop as a kid when I was walking somewhere. Like if I ever created a movie on my life, there will be a part where like that, like I'm walking somewhere and that the beginning strings are being played, because like it just felt like that was like a thing for me.
Yeah.
So the album cover is like what drew me in, like first and foremost, because like I used to like look at my mom's CDs and tapes and just like look at the album covers and like read them and shit like that. Even though like I didn't like, you know, I just didn't know. I know who Q-Tip was because like my mom like got like Word Up magazine and stuff.
Yeah.
So like I would like read her Word Up magazines and stuff. So like, I know who Q-Tip was, and like back then it was rumored that he was dating Janet Jackson while they was filming Poetic Justice. And, you know, my mom was in her 20s. So, like, you know, hearing, like, women gossip, like, oh, my God, I can't believe Janet's dating him. Like, his voice is annoying, like, unless he's rapping.
Right.
So, like, those are my early memories. And, like, just always, like, this album played a lot. And so did Mary J. Blige's What's the 411 in 1993.
Okay.
Like, I vividly remember it.
For me, it was kind of like, I always look at my time in, like, Cameroon as, like, the snap. Because I wasn't here for 93 up until
I bet you I know what put you onto this album.
95. Yeah, Wayans Brothers. Yeah, because when I came back, Wayans Brothers was like starting in like 97, I think, 96, 97.
No, it was 95, 96.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, I just heard Electric Relaxation from that intro for the album before I even knew what it was. And I only knew Q-Tip at this time because of Poetic Justice, because we watched Poetic Justice over there. But yeah, I think the first time that I heard this album was probably, I want to say Amplified was out by that time. So this was the late 90s.
You went back.
Yeah, I had to go back and listen to it.
Yeah, man. It's always so funny for me, because I had my mom she had me when she was a teenager. But because like I kind of grew up with my mom, like I vividly remember like shit and like the gossip that like was tied with certain artists. I don't know why my mother couldn't stand Q-Tip. Like she liked his music, obviously, but she just didn't like him as a person. And I guess like they would see each other out and shit, and she just say how much he was annoying. Like
that's funny. Like I feel like that's not the first time I heard that.
Yeah, like he
on like the gossip level.
Yeah, like he's annoying. A lot of people say that about
that's
him.
Mad funny. But yeah, that was like my early intro to this album, and then over the years going back to it, getting accustomed to like how Five Dog rapped, getting accustomed to his confidence that he had too. His confidence always stood out.
He had to be confident. Had to.
Yeah. The 5 foot free. But yeah, Midnight Marauders, it was coming off of another critically acclaimed album, The Low End Theory, and they had a back to back. I think this album it's often regarded as their best album, but Low End Theory is in the same argument, and that's always unique for artists to have, because it doesn't happen all the time, especially with a back to back. But getting into it, Midnight Marauders kicks off with the tour guide, which is right? A nice precedent for the duration of this album, because we hear this voice come up in this album, and this voice strategized, and the way that they put it together, it was more so came to come off like a program.
Yeah.
Right? To set us up. And they set it to where this nice, relaxing, soothing voice was kicking knowledge throughout the album. You know?
Right. Did you know that Dallas Austin took inspiration from this for TLC's fan mail?
Oh, that would make sense. I didn't know that though.
Yeah. So remember, like real quick, guys, or fan mail. I don't know. Well, we were young, but like that was when like Left Eye was having problems with the group. And she
Yeah.
was threatening to leave.
Yeah.
So essentially, like they were going to make the robot the third member of TLC. If Left Eye didn't record her
if she
parts for the
didn't
album.
come back, yeah. Interesting.
But
Okay.
yeah, like they used that robot, and I guess it worked better for, well, not work better. It made more sense with TLC because the millennium was coming.
Mhm.
So using like a robot, like futuristic and all that shit, like
Right.
kind of helped.
Yeah, and it just went with the image of it.
Yeah,
That's cool. So that takes us into Steve Biko.
Steve Biko.
Biko.
Yeah.
Steer It Up. Named with the intent of having listeners go back to look up who this person is. And
Yeah.
this is what I was kind of alluding to in a previous episode when I was talking about Scotty Beam. You know, it's not necessarily the same type of comparison.
It is not the same, Reg. This makes sense.
No, but I'm saying like this makes sense in the sense of like, all right, we named it that with the intent of getting people to go look up who that is. With Scotty Beam for Freddie, you know, and listeners, if you're confused, we did a previous episode on Alfredo for Freddie Gibbs, and we were highlighting Scotty Beam and why it's named that. But for that, I think it's all about knowing your audience. So like him talking about police brutality, Freddie Gibbs is who I'm referencing. Him talking about police brutality and naming it something serious that references Gil Scott-Heron. His audience is not accustomed to him talking about stuff like that, but they are accustomed to him talking about beautiful women and models and stuff like that. So kind of a way to kind of force feed them some content that they're not accustomed to from him. Just name them after somebody that's like beautiful that they're familiar with. And with this, it's like naming it this for the curious listener. They're like, who is that? And that's exactly what they want.
Okay. You know, South African anti-apartheid activist. Song is about black pride and resilience. The song sets the tone for the entire album. Tip's opening verse, Chef's Kiss.
Yeah.
Another artist where I would say, well, you know, in the last episode we talked about like some artists with like very unique voices in hip hop. Q-Tip is that person. I also wanted to mention like the lore of the album cover.
Yeah.
There's 71 people they took photos of 71 different people. And it was actually like a big deal because like they put ads like out and like were sending out memos to people to come take pictures because they wanted to like pay homage to like, you know, the pioneers in hip hop, like the movers and shakers in hip hop to come take it. And like some people actually made the album cover that like were not important at all. I forgot who, like it is somebody it's just some random dude and everybody's like, yo, I don't know who the fuck that is.
And he's somewhere still telling that story.
Yeah, telling the story that he made it. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that little tidbit. Also, I wanted to talk about the fact that like this project was kind of like the writings on the wall with the cracks happening in the group between Phife and Tip. Because Tip was getting that recognition because Tip was at this time East Coast Dr. Dre. And Phife was kind of like getting like Phife already has like had a Napoleon complex, and Tip was like the more like, you know, he was the group's producer. So, you know, that means five. What is it, right, Rob? 5 what?
For free.
No. Yeah, he was the 5 foot freak, but no. What is it? 5-part harmony?
Oh, 5-part harmony. 5-part harmony.
Yeah. Yeah, 5-part harmony. That's what Q-Tip wanted. And like Phife had to follow those rules, but Phife was like, I got my own ideas. And Tip was like, you know, you don't get paid to think. You get paid to rap on the beats that I produce for us.
Yeah.
And I think like they just started having a problem. And then, you know, Phife was sick and he was suffering with his diabetes.
Yeah.
Also, what I found funny was this was when Tip started being more spiritual and getting into his religion of being a 5%er. And like, you know, Phife, like he was in the Zulu Nation and shit like that, but you know, he still ate pork and shit, and that used to cause problems.
Right.
Like imagine you come to the studio and your man just got pork fried rice right in front of you. You're just like, yo.
Like, fuck are you doing? Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to like just mention that, and then also like mention like the influence. You know, you got the Neptunes, you got Dilla, you got Common, you got Bink, you got Just Blaze, Kanye, of course. Like, you know, that like the Tribe Called Quest family tree has a lot of branches.
It is, yeah.
You know, like even indirectly, they I don't think they influenced Dr. Dre, but like they challenged Dr. Dre, like Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre credits Tribe Called Quest with him making the Chronic.
Yeah, because I mean, I think he saw where shit was going, and realized that shit wasn't just so linear. Like he, you know, there was a lot of possibilities, and they, you know, they showed him that from an East Coast perspective. That takes us into a world tour.
Yes.
Lead single celebrating their success, coming off a very successful album. It's cool. It's always cool to hear rappers kick they shit like this. Like, yo, this is where we at. Like, this is the success that we reaping. You know, we on a war tour. We winning everything. We got the accolades.
I wish that the Grammys could have got shit right, because like I truly feel that like them performing this at the Grammys, them getting an award at the Grammys for this, like when they, you know, like I think this, man, that would, I think that like that would have put a Tribe Called Quest in like another stratosphere, man.
I think so
like, they
too.
deserved it.
I think also they, for some reason, they do get forgotten about, and it's probably because of that. I think in a lot of the conversations with rappers and with just some greats from the 90s, I feel like the conversations that I've had, people are like, yeah, and a Tribe Called Quest. And
it's
it's
like,
always,
like,
I feel like Mobb Deep comes up before them in those conversations, and all these other groups. And
because Tribe Called Quest was peaceful, they just rapped. You know, there was no controversy with them. True. Really. Their biggest controversy was that you know, they broke up, like, you know, on some Beatles shit.
Yeah, that's true. 8 Million Stories, Five Dogs solo.
Yo,
fucked up day.
Yeah, it's a fucked up day, and like this is shout out to Court and Danny, my two dark humor loving friends. I felt like this song was like just Phife just making fun of himself, just dealing with it. Like he just found the humor in like his shortcomings. Yeah,
and also he said a lot of the stories he was just coming up with and like making up because he knew it would be good.
Yeah,
and I think what's so cool about Fife's voice and his delivery is that like even though he's describing a bad day, he sounds so good.
Yeah,
it just sounds
right.
He sounds like upbeat. He doesn't, you know, it's not like he's trying to play into like a different voice to describe this day. He's just recalling some fucked up shit.
Yeah. I can't knock that. Like, yeah, like I just think like, you know, knowing how to like just display that, and like that's talent right there. Being able to like, you know, just poke fun at yourself, like not take yourself too seriously. Like I think that's a very good characteristic. I think that I used to do it. So this is what I'm saying. I'm not judging people. When you take yourself too seriously, sometimes I think that it kind of like stops you from like kind of like smelling the roses.
Right. That's true.
You know,
that's
so
true.
I obviously, again, I want to make it clear. I used to take myself very seriously, ladies and gentlemen. Once I learned to not take myself seriously, life got 10 times better.
You ain't come here for knowledge, did you? But you got it.
Yeah, you got it. Sure did.
Suck a Nigga. Tip Fly solo.
It's funny because when I heard that, when you see the name, right? Like I never really like thought about like the words in this song until I really listened to it. And I was like, oh, wait, he's talking about like you shouldn't be saying the word nigga. Like maybe he should have named, I think he should have named it something else opposed to sucker nigga. Because like you hear sucker nigga, you think he's talking about a sucker nigga.
Yeah.
But no, he's not. He's basically just saying like, you know, oh yo, the word like the word nigga and its association with the black community. I just thought that was like very like clever.
Yeah, and
to do.
Nigga first was used in the Deep South, and then it's kind of building on the adversity of the word, right?
Yeah.
And not necessarily. He's talking about obviously people questioning the use of the word, but he's saying why we use it, and reclaiming kind of like the bad, I guess, vibe that it has, you know, and using it for our own and for our own merit.
Agreed.
I thought, it's a dope solo record, especially for Tip. What about Midnight?
It's dope because basically Midnight explains what the whole album is about. It's about being in New York City at the nighttime, marauding around New York City. And
the night on the mind, the sun would still shine.
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember at one point in my life, like breaking night was a big deal with my friends.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember like we
dream of doing that now.
Yeah, y'all know I can't dream of doing that. Yeah, right. I do that should have happened on accident, but Yeah, like that used to be like a thing, like moving around New York City at night and like seeing the sun come up was a thing with me and my friends. Like, you know, I remember when I was younger, it was this club, it was called Club Speed. And like my friends would go there and like artists would like perform. I believed at this time Joel Santana performed. So like, and like we were out and we went and we got out of it and like we like were trying to like talk to girls and stuff like that. We wound up going to a diner and just being out and like opposed to like, you know, like we was like broke kids because we took the train downtown and like the train was taking forever and we wound up just walking back to Harlem from downtown Manhattan from the diner on 14th Street to like just cuz like, and it was just like a thing, like just being around New York City, like seeing the city at night while it was sleeping, quote unquote, and like, you know, just seeing things. Like it's such like a good memory, and this song makes me think about nights like that, like just being with my friends, because like this was when I was back and forth between Atlanta and New York, and it was just like I was like that, like that's how I decided I was coming back to New York, because I was like, I never do this in Atlanta.
Like
it's not the same.
Spontaneous New York nights are the best, man. You just never know how it end up.
Yeah,
you just gotta just roll with it.
Yeah, just random nights.
That shit is the best.
Dates too.
Spontaneous dates.
Then broke into those are the best.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now I always wind up taking the shorty back to the house fucking. I don't know about you, Rob.
What? He's like, fuck all this street shit. I'm in a house.
I'm in a house. If I got a girl with me, I'm the juicy fruit.
You did. What that takes us into We Can Get Down. We Can Get Down is one of my
Raphael Sadiq on the digital person.
Yes, for Midnight. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bodied
Thank
that.
you.
Bodied that.
Stage name Raphael Wiggins, I think it was.
Yeah, Raphael Sadiq, man, one of the GOATs. We Can Get Down is another pivotal part for this album for me. I think he said, I think Fife said we have a slew of rappers pushing positivity. And then he said, Mayor Berry smoking crack. Let's preach about that.
Yeah. So
like, let's take some of this heat off of the rap community. You know, and this is 93. This is the thick of like the scrutiny of hip hop.
Yeah. And so I love telling people the story of Marion Barry that don't know about it. It's fucking hilarious. Bitch set me up. I love that story. I thought that this song was also unique because it was unique because they were rapping about being unique. Because back then, like everybody had to have their own style, their own. It wasn't cookie cutter like how it is today, where like now like people kind of like are like chasing a certain sound. Like if a person was chasing the sound, they were generic. Like, oh, like, you know, that's how you were able to identify like who was real and who was, you know, manufactured or whatever like that. Like, or quote, I guess they would have been called an industry plant back like now, but back then, right? So I think that with that being said, like it was just very interesting to me that when people came out in hip hop a long time ago, like you had to be authentic. You had to be one of one or whatever like that. Like nobody sounded like Q-Tip. Nobody produced like Q-Tip. Like, you know, nobody sounded like Phife Dawg. Nobody dressed like Phife Dawg. Like in their nobody's videos looked like Tribe Called Quest videos. And like, that's what I took from this song. Like, oh shit. Okay. Like they're acknowledging like they, you know what I'm saying? They don't like fucking biters.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah. Individuality, man. And I don't think, I think we're kind of getting back to that. The individuality in hip hop. I think a lot of people.
I love that shit. Bro.
Yeah, a lot of people are seeing the value in that again.
Right. That goes to my conversation I was having with LaShawn earlier, where he was saying about Tyler. Like, you know, he was like, some people are saying that the new song that he has for his project is like a hard listen. And I was like, that's fine. Tyler Creator just sold out a festival. You think he's worried about that one person on Twitter saying that they won't go back to his music? Obviously, his music is not for that young lady. That's fine.
Yeah.
I was like, but Tyler Creator's doing great. I was like, that man sells out. He sold out a festival and we didn't even know who was performing.
Yeah.
That nigga could have gave us a lineup and it could have just been him and a bunch of cows mooing.
Like, he already got your fucking money.
Yeah, he already got your money. Like,
Electric Relaxation.
Yes.
What a fucking classic. What a classic. Really, really defines that New York sound that I love. You know, there's Shook Ones. Electric Relaxation. There's like some key New York gems, you know, but this is one of them.
Electric Relaxation. Obviously, it sucks now though. Well, it don't suck, but now like I see the Wayans brothers.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can't hear this song and not think of Wayne.
Yeah, like it's just one of those things. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that. Like that song. It's such a smooth song. Like you can just play this shit. Like and you can play it for somebody from any generation. Like I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait until like oh shit. Everybody, I'm having a kid. Thanks. So I put some Easter eggs on the show from time to time. Yeah, I'm having a son. Me and Sarah are expecting. I can't wait to play this album for my son. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. It's something that I'm really excited about, and like I know A Tribe Called Quest is going to be played a lot for him, because like, I just feel like their music is kind of like very, 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 very timeless. And it's very cool.
And it's that jazzy element always
it just works. It just it just flows and everything like that. So yeah, sorry guys. I mean, one episode I put Beans Papa. I had the coffee mug like right here. Like only a few people like caught that little Easter egg, but yeah, like I'm expecting a kid. If you know, yeah, huh? I don't even know if it's the rollout. It's just like the, hey, just in case like one day you see me recording and I got a kid in my lap.
Babysitters is expensive.
Yeah, man. Babysitters is expensive, man.
Yeah, so Electric Relaxation takes us into Clap Your Hands, which is such a smooth transition for this album.
It is. It's a fun track.
It's a fun track. I think that's what makes it so digestible, especially so far into this album. I think having a song like this is really, really pivotal.
I want to know like what made because I feel that this album is what he was trying to do in a Low End Theory, but he mastered it on Midnight Marauders. And I think that like I'm curious, like was like Tip like chasing something? Like was he trying to outdo himself on this project? Or like was he just continuing like building on where he already started? Because I don't even think Q-Tip realizes that like he created a fucking sound.
Right. Yeah.
So it's interesting to me.
I think that's the authenticity of his sound though. I think he wasn't trying to just introduce something new. He was just doing what he liked.
Right. He was just doing his shit. And the reason why I say that is because like, Q-Tip is respected and he's hailed, but like I can't put my finger on it, but I'm like, yo, why isn't Q-Tip? I'm sorry, comparison is a thief of joy, but like, why isn't he like talked about the way that like Pharrell and Ye are talked about as far as like his production? Is it because he didn't produce for more artists?
Yeah, I think it's directly tied to that. I think because I think for what he's done is heralded, but
that Force album, bro, by LL Cool J,
is hard.
I liked it. Like you know what I'm saying? Like LL let the meatballs know.
I think that Force album is hard, and I think I don't think Tip cares for that type of accolade. He already he's a very much if you know type.
It's like a curious thing to me, because also like like the album Illmatic, like he was an integral part on as well. Like it was said that like him and Large Professor kind of like orchestrated everything, like So I don't know. That's just like something I'm curious about.
93, 94. So yeah, he was on fire.
Yeah, he was like, yeah. Like think about that. Like Low End Theory, no. So let's say Low End Theory, right? Then I forgot the other project that he worked on. So you got Low End Theory. Then you have this album right here, Midnight Marauders. Then Illmatic. That's a crazy 3-album run of production. God damn.
Yeah. But niggas be like, what have you done for me lately?
It's just something where I'm like, I'm just curious, man. Like I said, let me get a ridiculous, like sometimes I wonder like, damn, I want to do millionaires know they had the access to this. I get like a significant amount of money. I'm going to like certain artists that I fuck with. Like I have $2 million. I want you to make an album for me. Thanks.
The Kardashians do it all the time. They just have people show up at their house.
You're right. Yeah, they do.
Like, hey, Ice Spice, come do this video with my daughter. They be renting people.
Yeah.
Come watch your movie at my house. And we're going to take pictures. I'll give you money. Just be renting people, bro. It's crazy. It's wild. Hey, they got the money for it.
They did it with the husband. Never mind.
Who'd you rent?
Who would I rent?
This is gonna get really
Yeah, no, this is muddy. It is so muddy.
A lot of baby oil.
Yeah, no.
What?
A lot.
Rob, this one's good.
Slippery slope is crazy. Yeah, no, I'm not. No, I'm not renting nobody. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
You gonna say a name?
Yeah.
Who you rent? Who
Anthony
you-
Mackie.
Okay, he went that route.
Oh, that's what y'all was thinking. Oh, that's crazy. Yo, it didn't even cross my mind. Like, yo, y'all niggas is wild.
All right.
The slippery
Cool,
slope.
Yeah, he went that route. Like, okay, yeah, Anthony Mackie, do this movie for me. All right, cool.
What Anthony Mackie movie are you trying to do? Like,
I'm bringing it back as Tupac.
yeah, what are you doing?
I want
Like Falcon like that?
I want to see Anthony Mackie do like a military movie, like a Tom Clancy like influenced military movie. I've been reading Tom Clancy books now because I started getting into what is his name, Jack Reacher, and like I'm just like yo like because I didn't realize that there's a movie called Remorse that Michael B. Jordan did, and he's not playing Jack Reacher, but he's playing a character from the Tom Clancy like universe.
Yeah.
I'm just like Anthony Mackie probably would have been better for this part. I don't know. It's just
And it's the prequel to Rainbow Six.
okay.
I'd have Anthony Mackie play Falcon as Papa Doc playing Falcon.
All right. Hey, you like it? I love it. I mean, my mind didn't go where y'all minds went. I mean, but okay. All right. I will say a woman that I would rent, and I would want her to actually act in a movie, not whatever the fuck y'all was thinking. Rashida Jones. I would want her to be in a rom-com.
Okay.
Yo, y'all niggas, this is movie. Y'all niggas are sick, bro. I'm thinking like, yo, like, I would rent people like, y'all said the Kardashians rent people to watch movies and make TikToks with them.
Yeah.
And then like, that's what the realm I'm in. I'm
That's
talking
what
about
I'm gonna do.
recording albums and shit.
That's what I'm gonna do too. We're gonna watch movies.
If you come on, Reg, you know you want to watch Coming to America anywhere.
That'd be fly.
You
That'd
know
be
you
fly.
do.
Yeah.
The Cameroon moments.
Mhm.
How did you know? Are you from Cameroon? You talk about it all the time.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Cameroon reference was Trading Places though. But I get it.
Sick.
Clap Your Hands. No, we talked about
Yeah, we
Clap Your
did,
Hands.
yeah.
Oh my God, featuring Busta.
Oh my
Um,
god. Oh my god.
Yeah, this is dope. Fife went crazy.
He did go crazy.
He said, when's the last time you heard a funky diabetic? Like I just like the way he owns all like his
he owns
quote
all-
unquote shortcomings.
when you're a short person, right? It's fight or flight. You either gotta own it or you gonna get teased and made of for life. I learned that from my boy Courtney. Courtney just before you say it, he's gonna say it about himself and then say some worse shit to you and cut you down to his height,
Oh,
so
yeah.
y'all could be eye to eye.
Yeah.
And that's Fife Dog's approach to rap.
Mm-hmm. But Courtney, yeah. Courtney's he's a confident guy. Always been that way. But Keep It Rolling with Large Professor, who we already referenced.
Yeah,
Really great Roy Ayers sample.
it was like Large Professor is another one,
Mhm.
Like it's just interesting to me, like so two of the most unheralded great producers of their time, and I don't know why, are Large Professor and Easy Mo B.
Yes, Easy Mo B. Absolutely. People just kind of just forget.
Like, and I forgot like if something happened, like he fell out with somebody. Like I want to say I've seen that come across my YouTube timeline. I'm pretty sure it'll come up on my algorithm now that I'm talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like Large Pro, like it, like he's very, if you know,
Yeah.
very
A lot of the hip hop greats from this time frame
Yeah.
are that way.
right. It seems like Premier kind of gets a majority of that share,
He does.
lion's share, and I mean
And
it's
people also
deserved.
misunderstand people because he's so New York embedded. People think he's from New York.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Right.
He's so
Man's
it's
from
a
Houston,
scratching.
Texas.
It's a scratches.
Yes.
Shout out to Derek Jeter's sister.
Oh yeah. He's married to Derek Jeter's sister. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
That's his baby mama.
That's his wife.
Okay. So yeah. Keeping It Rolling goes into the Chase Part 2, which Fife also fucking bodies. Him on this album, like,
He has something to prove, bro. Like that. It's funny because there's a documentary that talks about this, like that they were clashing so much that like Fife would go in and like record in the booth in spite of Tip. And like basically go crazy, and then Tip would be like, "That's what the fuck I'm talking about. When you rap, that's how you rap." Like having that Bad Boys moment.
Yeah.
But like Fife was like, "Oh, I hate you."
they was asking Fife about like some of the moments of this album. Like some of the beats on this album, I forget which one it was specifically, but when he walked in and he heard it, I think it was Electric Relaxation. He walked in, Tip was in the basement making a beat. He was like, yo, I didn't even say hi to my grandmother because I walked in and I heard the beat and I just went straight downstairs like, yo, what the fuck is this? And we went from there. Like
Right.
he, you know, so like in those times, despite whether or not beefing, whatever, he did highlight Q-Tip's greatness and really played to it. Cause like another example is Lyrics to Go. That Minnie Riperton sample that like is constant throughout where you just hear the harmony and they rap over that. Nobody had did some shit like that. And when Fife heard it, he knew it was special.
Shout out to Maya Rudolph.
Yeah. Shout out to Maya Rudolph.
AKA Kamala Harris on SNL.
One of my favorite Nepo babies.
Yeah, man, she's great. Yo, bro, like it's very interesting that like there's certain like this album is so like praised and like propped up on one hand, and then on the other hand, I don't think that it gets propped up enough. Like I could absolutely say that like this album is slept on, even though it's considered like it's on every great album list.
Yeah.
But it's just not talked about enough
because it's a different avenue of rap. It's completely different from what the masses are accustomed to. So like you're either, if you're a rap fan of the 90s, most fans are specific rap fans. You know, Wu-Tang is going to come up, Enter the Wu-Tang. Automatically, that's a different street from this album.
Right.
Like, and then you're going to stick to that street because you're already there. So it's like Enter the Wu, The Infamous, you know, and then you're going to go into 98, DMX, all of this shit that's like on that same wave. The person that names this album already lives on that different Ave.
I've like, you want to know what's funny is that I've been living with 3 Feet and Rising for the past 2 years in preparation to actually do you want to do that album. Cause like I just been like, I'm like, all right, like I want to be very confident because I never listened to that album before, unfortunately, until like they just like had that like resurgence. And I'm like, damn, like when like, you know, cause one of the members, I think his name is Troji, was on this album. And yes, rest in peace. And like I was like, yo, like they were all in that lane is what I'm just saying. Like when I'm thinking about it, like cause 3 Feet and Rising is hailed as one of the greatest rap albums of all time as well. And like they were in that lane with like Tribe, and it just, you know, I guess like, you know, sensationalism like sells, like bitches and hoes and guns and all of that shit like sells the violence.
Do you think it was the rise of West Coast gangster rap in like the 92, 93, and then I feel like New York kind of felt like they had fallen behind and trying to catch up? I think a lot of the people at the time trying to catch up or trying to make it more New York based kind of started getting a little bit grittier and realer and more street based, which kind of washed this and everybody in that lane out because they were all part of
it was kind of a you talking about I know it's
the whole movement they had with
I know it's just I forgot the name of the crew that they had, but Native Tongues, there you go.
You know, I think
okay.
Do you think that it was that transition that kind of made it harder for people to see the non-necessarily quote unquote gangster rap of East Coast?
I think you're onto something with that because especially The Chronic was what, 92?
Yeah.
The Chronic significantly changed a lot of things, right? Commercially. And I think with Tribe is such a stark difference, and you can say the same thing with
especially with Doggy Style that year.
Yeah. And you could say, yeah, that's a good point too. You could say the same thing with like the impact that Get Rich and College Dropout had, right? Because College Dropout was 04. Get Rich was, no, Yeah, College Dropout was 04, Get Rich was 03. But before College Dropout, everybody was just listening to gangster rap, you know? And then until like it was a hard pivot with College Dropout. And a lot of people had to adjust to that. I think with this, it's kind of the same type of effect. Like people was listening to Tribe, but they wasn't all the way there because they was so caught up in the gangster rap that was popular back then.
Money played a large factor to that.
No. How so?
Once you equate money into rap music, a lot of people started compromising their sound, following what's popular.
Yeah.
So the things that rap music stood for, as far as being that voice or a certain level of voice and consciousness, change.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that also the world, what was going on in the world was changing. So there was a reflection of certain things that needed to happen. So the Watts riots, the Rodney King verdict, the OJ trial, right? All these things and police brutality were happening in LA. So people wanted to, like, because like, you know, the internet wasn't a thing yet in every household, rappers were kind of like reporting on it. So that's why people were like, oh shit, like Bloods and Crips, gangs, like, you know, like that was like a thing. So, and it just started selling like hotcakes because it was foreign to a lot of people, right?
Yeah, and yeah,
it was
these
something
raps
new.
were the news for a lot of people.
Yeah, it was more so like the news, and it was kind of like, I can't believe that's happening in LA. Like, you know, it was just, I think like it was more so that, and like because in New York, like truth be told, it was actually kind of peaceful. Like, and they was actually trying to like clean things up. Like the crack era was a thing, but like there weren't like a lot of like rappers that were drug dealers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like drug dealers didn't want to become rappers because rappers didn't make no money. That was like a thing. But what changed is that gangster rap started making money, and then rappers was like, oh, I'm really doing this shit. I can do this shit. And that's where the change happened. And that's where a lot more of the negativity kind of drove in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. I don't think it's like one thing that happened. I think it's a stream of events that happened, and it kind of just caused like this to go down that road. And that's why there's some people that have conspiracy theories where they're like, yo, like there were meetings where they were like, yo, we got to stop this shit. These motherfuckers are getting positive. They getting people to stop doing drugs. They getting men to stay home with their families. Like it's something happened.
Yeah,
there was definitely a change, and it was like promoted. And I definitely think that those people over there at Interscope kind of were a very integral part in that.
Yeah. God Lives Through closes this album out.
Mm-hmm.
It includes 5 different samples used so seamlessly, in my opinion, and it's the perfect closer.
Yeah.
Pulls from that Busta record. I mean, from that Busta, that oh my God.
Yeah.
Dun, dun,
which
dun,
Busta is not credited for.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, he's not.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, this is a perfect closer. You got any take on this?
It's a really good closer to the project, and it's something that like I was like, damn, like I didn't want it to end, because like I like seeing how he like flips samples,
Mm-hmm.
and like it made me curious, like damn, I wonder was he contacted during any of the Pimp a Butterfly sessions?
Interesting.
Just conversation.
Yeah.
Or like just come chill. You know, sometimes
that would be his bag.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes like people would like, yo, I don't want you to touch shit. Just listen to this project, tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Just sit in on this one.
Yeah, because I really feel like Kendrick, like I think he tapped into a little bit of Tribe, you know. So I don't think that that happened on accident.
Yeah,
when he made To Pimp a Butterfly.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, you know what time it is. Let's get to our ratings.
It's a perfect rap album. It's a classic. It's 5. This is a 5 out of 5 Waffles rating. It's to me, it's their greatest album, and I just think that everything that this album like did was this was their peak. Like they reached, they got to a plateau, and then it kind of went on a climb because groups, it just happens. Groups just don't get along. Brothers fight.
Yeah. I agree. This is a perfect rap album. And I think it's very daring and ambitious at the time to come out with an album like this that doesn't sound anything like what's going on, but what you already established.
Right.
I think that's really, really cool. I think Q-Tip was ahead of his time, and he still is. I think the element that he adds to rap and that Tribe added to rap at this time was really important. And you know, I can't say that it doesn't get celebrated enough. We just saw them get the ultimate prize for it.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
You know, some people will say it's long overdue. Some people say it's right on time. I think it's just great that it happened.
I agree.
You know, Midnight Marauders is one of those albums that, you know, I think if you pick any album in Tribe's catalog, it'd just be a great, solid listen for no matter the year, because it doesn't sound dated. You know, you'll get references that are dated, but it's also of that time. And it just should be celebrated. You know, there's no right time to do that. I think whenever you decide to do that as a listener, viewer, just let us know if you haven't, and let us know what you think. I'm First Class Regg.
And I'm Taurian B.
We're out of here.
So I'll see you next time. Dun dun.